folks, and welcome to the Pipnotic Symposium for the 3rd of April 2020. Today we are going to look at a bit of theory. The theory is going to simply be how we can use currency strength together with supply and demand to increase the probability of our trades. Okay, so I'm just looking now at my currency strength dashboard, and this is showing me a lot of information. Down here we can see the development of the 9 most traded currencies relative to currency strength the beginning of last month. Okay, so we have just over a month of data here, so this is very profound, and you can see here that we have the Japanese yen, which is strong. We have the Australian dollar and the Kiwi that are weak. We also have the Swiss franc, the American dollar, and the euro that are the winners since the beginning of last month. Okay, and so this is something that we'll very clearly see on a price chart. And this one here, we can see similar information, but this is currency strength now compared to currency strength since the beginning of last week. So today we have about just over two weeks of currency strength data, today being Friday. And you can see that the British pound is certainly being bought. And so this is interesting, and the rest are pretty much stuck around the middle line here, the zero line. And you can see here we have the Swiss franc and the euro, and they're slowly selling off. And you can see here, if you look at the Swiss franc and the euro, the Swiss franc being the lime green line and the euro being the blue line, here they're selling off, and here you can see, they started here and now they're slowly starting to move lower. So we're seeing a decrease in demand for the euro Swiss franc. Okay, so let's have a look. Here we have it's early Asia here, and it's also Friday, and so things are probably not doing a whole lot, but you can see here that things are pretty neutral, and this is currency strength now compared to currency strength the beginning of yesterday. So here you can see a nice development of currency strength over the course of the past just over a day, and you can see that there's not a lot going on. We have a slight increase in the strength of the Singaporean dollar, which is the yellow line, and we have the euro, the Swiss franc, which are the weakest since yesterday. And you can see a slight increase also here in the Australian dollar and the Kiwi dollar. And we also have like a Canadian dollar here, which is looking pretty strong, maybe a bit of a pullback. Okay, so let's see what that does for us. And so what I like to do in a situation like this is I like to mark these off. Okay, and so what I'll do here is I will say, okay, well, we have strong. So essentially I want to find the buy currencies, and then I want to find the sell currencies. And so the buy currencies longer term are the Japanese yen, we have the Swiss franc, we have the American dollar, and we have the euro. That's a lot. Okay, so that's a lot there. So if we go here and we have the weak ones, I'm just going to grab three of them, and do the Aussie dollar, the Kiwi, and the Canadian dollar. Okay, and so then I'm going to make some pairs out of these. So the Aussie, we have the Aussie yen. So this is to buy. So we have the Aussie yen. Oops. Okay, that's a clear buy according to the currency strength. we have a buy for the Aussie franc. We have a buy for, sorry, we have a sell for the Aussie franc, my bad. So we have a buy for the dollar Canadian. I'll just do a couple of these, and then we'll do a couple of sells. Sell, remove, change the size of this here, and sell there. And so selling, we are going to look to sell the Australian dollar. So we're going to this should be here. Okay, to buy the euro Aussie, let's just put this here, the euro Aussie. And so selling, we want to look to sell the Kiwi American dollar. We want to sell the euro CAD. Okay, so let's look at these one by one. Okay, so we have that. Just going to move that over here. And so we are going to go to the price chart, and here we're going to see, well, we want to look at the euro Aussie. So we have buy euro, sell Australian dollar. So let's have a look at the Euro Aussie and see what that looks like. Just here, so let's have a look. Okay, so that's moving up pretty nicely, as you can see. So we can have, and if you look at like the mean of the currency strength, I mean, it's a positive number, and it's a pretty nice positive number. Okay, and so that's telling us that we are seeing an increase in the flows moving into the euro and out of the Australian dollar. We had a huge push here, and this was because of this corona catalyst that kind of caused the markets in Australia to sell off, and again everywhere, but relative to the euro, this happened faster in Australia than it did in the eurozone. Okay, and we have a couple of areas here that are interesting for us. Number one, we have this here, just here. We'll mark that off there. Let's go to the smaller time frame and have a look. And looking here on the smaller time frame, and then I'd feel more keen about moving it down to here, because we have a high, we have a really sharp departure. The slingshot was pulled back and then we left. So here about the 17100, I think that's a pretty interesting area just there. Okay, let's have a look at another one. Let's have a look at the American dollar, Canadian dollar. So we're looking to buy the American dollar and sell the Canadian dollar. Let's have a look at that chart. I'm going to make this video short today because we're going on a small trip. Okay, so let's have a look. Daily chart, looking to buy. Well, you can see here that we had significant push higher. If we have a look on the weekly chart, I mean, we have an enormous gap higher. So first of all, we want to find out what managed to cut through these areas. So we have this. We actually had a really nice area of supply here. This is beautiful, just here. This was tested a few times and now it's gone. Okay, and so the area that did it, I mean, there's something down here. The software found this one for us. So we'll box off the whole area and we'll have a look before I do anything. I'll put that there. We have a look at this. We'll go to the small time frame, the daily, and we got it somewhere here. Let me grab this, move it over here. So we have this here. That doesn't want to play very well, does it? Okay, let's try again. So we have here, okay, a massive gap, and you see, notice that the gap is still unfilled, so the gap has not rebalanced. So let's zoom out a little bit. Let's have another look. Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty strong departure. Let's go to the 4 hour just to be certain, and you can see that, I mean, we had this enormous cut away. I need to go to the hourly to have a super clear look. Yeah, I mean, this is an interesting area, and just because we saw this gap. So we had this area here, not a beautiful area, but we had an area that was tested a few times, and I know this is an area because price respected it. So we had one test, 2, 3, 4, a bunch, and then price gapped up and price has not been back. So we have the beginning of the buy zone is here. An area that's interesting is here. Okay, not so much on this time frame because we had a lot of trading in the area, but on the bigger time frame it's more interesting. Looking lower, we also have some other areas that are appealing, but we're going to see a reaction here, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this. Just know that price will probably have a bit of a bounce once it gets to about the 134.40 area. So go 134.40. Okay, and so we have that here. So we're probably going to get a bit of a bounce at that area there. So I encourage you to mark off these levels and just watch as price enters them and see what happens. Okay, let's do another one here. Let's look at selling the Australian dollar, a Japanese yen. Yeah, and again, you can see this pretty clearly that, I mean, this has been sold off very nicely. So let's mark off the level that price had a tough time moving through historically is here. And so what area managed to move through it? It's this one here. So the strength originated from this area here. Okay, so this is probably an area that we would want to watch and sell at should price come back up to here at some stage, and it probably will at some stage. But notice here as well that we have, again, we have extreme negative readings. I mean, the mean of the histogram is it's a pretty big minus number. Okay, so that's I mean, that's, you can see as well, we had, I mean, it's very, there's a lot of, the histogram is below the zero line the majority of the time. So that's showing us we have the major flows moving to the Japanese yen and out of the Australian dollar, and we can see this very clearly here: Japanese yen, Australian dollar. Okay, so essentially we're taking this information with us onto the price chart, and the beauty of that is that you're not guessing. You're not guessing, I should be buying, I should be selling. You just want to make sure that you pay attention to this information because it's very important, and this is where the flows are moving. Good, my computer's about to die, I can see, so I'll cut this short. But this is an interesting area here. This is at the 69.85. Let's just mark that off. 69.85, 69.85. And let's do one more. The Kiwi American dollar. If my computer lasts, I might have to plug it in. But the problem with that is you get the feedback because there's no ground in the plug, which is a blow. Okay, so here we do the same thing. Weighted price have a nice bounce historically. We had it here, bounce, bounce, sideways, and then a dump here. So we had like a really strong push higher to attract some sellers, and prices retreated nicely, and it retreated from this area here. So there's probably something in here we want to look at. I won't go into details because we don't have so much time today, but this is what we're looking at. Okay, so we have something here. This is like the 62.20-ish area. 62.20. Okay, Australian dollar, did I do that wrong? That's perfect. Good. So that's what we have. So we have a couple of things we can watch. I recommend that you mark those off and you watch them. And I also encourage you to use the strength software like this, and use it to make some decent decisions. And if you're a little bit confused about the configuration, because there are a ton of options for configuring, just put it in the default setting like so, with maybe 50 periods, and leave it at that, and that'll give you a pretty good indication of what's going on. Okay, and then you can just flick through the time frames. Here we're on the hourly chart. You go to the 4-hour chart, and it'll show you 4-hour data. You can go to the daily chart, it'll show you daily data. Okay, and so you're getting a pretty good overview of what's going on for these currencies. Okay, good. Well, I'm going to leave it at that. So if you have any questions, send them in either via our Discord channel or type in a comment below the video. And if you like what you're seeing, please subscribe to the channel, and then you will get updates on a multi-week basis. Thanks for watching. Have a good weekend.